Hey, welcome back. So, life is like a roller coaster. Nothing can really prepare you for anything and everything. Sometimes you just have to take it one day at a time. Sometimes changes are minor, and sometimes they are major. So, the day that I filmed my first video, after I had wrapped that up, I started to head home, actually passing by the train that I had waited 5 minutes for. And got home, decided to make some coffee, wrapped up what I was doing for the day, and I got a phone call from my son's school. I thought it was going to be an automated message, kind of, just saying that, hey, there's no school the following Friday, which I was aware of. But no, it actually ended up being his principal. I got a call that there was an incident at school. He had turned pale and had fainted for a moment. And yeah, I immediately stopped what I was doing and rushed to the school. Luckily, he was all right by the time I had gotten there and seemed to be kind of bouncing back, but still a very, scary phone call to receive, especially as a parent, and just kind of shows that, one single phone call can definitely change the course of, one's day, or perhaps, even more than just that. I remember one time that we noticed that my son kept saying "what" a lot after everything we were saying, and, it persisted for a couple of days. Decided, do we clean your ears? And sure enough, we checked his ears and we saw something shiny and metallic in there. Kind of freaked me out a bit. We couldn't really get it out. I didn't want to cause any kind of damage. And so we took him to the urgent care where the doctor decided to take a look. He could see something as well. Tried flushing it out with no luck. And he was a bit worried too. He decided, we may need to go see an ear, nose, and a throat specialist. But he tried one more time, flushing it out with water, got a little bit of movement, and was able to use surgical pliers to remove it. And luckily it ended up just being a shiny sticker. So that was nice not having that. But again, it wasn't on our bingo card for that night of things that we were going to be spending hours doing. But yeah, life does not care about how much money you have. Of course, it can help. There's no doubt about that. But sometimes there's other things outside of your control, that aren't financially dependent, or at least not fully. Like maybe a window of opportunity to visit a place that may no longer exist, such as like a building or somewhere you had spent time, or, seeing a loved one, before maybe they pass, or, something along those lines. Maybe it's working somewhere your entire life and then being let go, or the business closes, and deciding ultimately if you want to start something similar or maybe a new career altogether. I often wonder if I'll have some kind of life calling like that where, I reflect and think, this is where I should be and what I should be doing right now. I absolutely love helping others and am a somewhat social person. I like engaging and having meaningful conversations. And honestly, I think that all started when I worked in retail and just being able to help customers. And one of the other things that I got to do, which was pretty awesome, was doing shipping and receiving and getting to work closely with various truck drivers doing, shipment unloads for product, and just chatting with them to help, kill the time, especially if it took over an hour or so to unload a truck. Hearing their stories of, maybe different cities or cool spots or places that they got to travel through, where their next pickup was, and just, kind of what they were doing, especially as someone who, obviously isn't as home as much and is on the road a lot more. And I'll never forget the time that I flew out west to meet my now wife for the first time. I remember one of the first things I saw was a triple load or triple trailer semi. Being from back east, that wasn't really a thing that I've ever seen. Singles, doubles, sure, but never a triple. And I remember when I'd flown back home, I had a shipment that I was helping with, and it was with one of the truck drivers that I told about that I was flying out west, and told him, you won't believe what I saw out there. And before I even told him, he, said, let me guess, you saw a triple loaded trailer. And to my surprise, I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. He could have said anything else. He could have said, oh, you saw, big mountains for the first time, or skyscrapers. But no, he just kind of knew, because we had that connection, that would have been something that I would have wanted to share with him. So even in tech, I carried that mindset of having strong working relationships in terms of, communication is key. The first teams I was on, the developers and QA software testers were kind of separated in terms of how they kind of handled work. I felt like a lot of it was just sort of thrown over the fence and you figure it out. And yeah, that didn't really get us too far. So one of the things I looked into was trying to bond with the team, doing team activities, summer games that we had in my work, playing basketball, going to the gym, hitting up food trucks, etc. Now, of course, saying that, I can say, I am kind of privileged with the company. When I was working in office, just being able to do those things and interact and get to know a lot of these people. But it really helped open up that communication barrier that we were having. They felt a bit more approachable in terms of saying, hey, how should I go about testing this new feature? Or, this is how I'm going to write test to check your code. Do you think I'm missing anything, in that kind of sense? So it really helped there. And then that helped push a new thing that we were doing, which were developer demos, so that they would demo the new feature they were going to release out to test, just so we could kind of see it first and have any questions. And when I ultimately moved on to a new product and department, I took those skills with me as well. The teams were a little bit better, but communication was still lacking. And one of the things I first pushed for as a work goal that I had was actually doing those demos and making sure that developers were doing that. Because so many defects were popping up immediately. And I was just like, hey, if we have demos, before we push stuff out, we may find glaring defects that were obvious, and you can get those fixed before you even get it out to us, allowing less defects to be logged and put into our system. But again, it allowed more camaraderie and just kind of overall communication as a group. Another bonding activity would be with my buddy Kale. He was an automation engineer while I was still a manual QA on a team. So we didn't really interact too much, and honestly, he really kept to himself. Not that he was angry, he was just very timid. And we often joked that he was addicted to work or allergic to having fun, because he never did go to team activities or anything like that to really get to know the team or for us to really get to know him. And so I took it as a challenge one day to, just reach out to him, kind of find a common interest or things that we could talk about and get to know each other. And we ended up finding a couple of things that we actually really enjoyed together. And that kind of allowed that conversation to grow, got more into other things, and, started a friendship from there, even outside of work, where, my family and his would often get together and just kind of hang out, even have dinner and things like that. So as you can see, I really do like to engage with people and get to know them, help them as well in ways, but also just connecting with them. And, of course I do like to have some banter, what's life if you're not having fun and laughing at times. But, with all that said, that would be something that I'd want to continue doing in life, is having some kind of meaningful way to connect with others. But the question, what would you do if life changed or you had to start over? Would you try and do something similar again, or would you look into ways to starting anew with something completely different? Would this be, something similar to what you're doing work-wise, maybe just at a different company? Maybe you'd switch it up and you have some kind of passion project you're interested in. Maybe you've always wanted to open a card shop or maybe sell flowers. And, I've read stories where someone has a loved one that's dying of a rare illness that there is no cure for, and someone pivots career to going to school to learn ways to look into this disease and hopefully find a cure, and something like that. That's definitely life-changing and really switches the course of things. And whether you're doing that to find a cure or maybe you're just an advocate and spreading awareness for it. One of the pages I follow that I absolutely love, they have a daughter who, has autism, and she was getting amazing aid while in high school and throughout her life. And the parents knew that once she had finished high school, she wouldn't really have that kind of support. And it wouldn't be easier for her to find some kind of job, in our world. Yeah, which is kind of sad, but, that's the reality of things, depending on, the disabilities that you have. And so the parents really thought about it, what can we do? How can we help her succeed in life and have a meaningful life and everything along those lines? and they decided to sell t-shirts. They started out small. They didn't expect to sell, very many, probably friends and family, maybe spread the word a little bit. But that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to start a t-shirt business, have her learn some of the basic fundamentals, different pieces with sorting, maybe packaging, those things. And it's amazing seeing how much she's grown in terms of just doing that, doing the tasks, really, spreading her wings in terms of being a bit more social and just, interacting with everything like that. And it's really awesome to see. And it's cool that, her parents were able to kind of switch the direction of their lives and what they were doing to start this business that's now, flourished and really become something that maybe they didn't anticipate at the beginning. Honestly, don't know what I would do if a life-changing, event were to occur right now. It's definitely hard supporting a family, and even harder going back to school, especially if you're recently out of a job, because, that costs money. And even if you are in a job and are looking to further educate yourself or maybe look into something else, while it can be possible, definitely hard when you have a family, because then you're taking time away from either them or you're doing it afterwards, and then that is affecting and compromising the amount of sleep that you would be getting. But I will say, the opportunities are definitely out there in this day and age. Education, learning anything is everywhere, whether you're just looking up information on the internet, using YouTube to upskill yourself in various ways, maybe learning a bit about coding, how to fix a Keurig machine, winterize sprinklers, really anything. It's all out there, which is awesome. I feel like these situations aren't really something you can, fully plan out for or take the time to, really plan for. And they will happen sudden and rather abrupt. And it just kind of comes down to, will you sink or swim? I'm hoping I don't have to worry about a situation like this for a bit as I continue to save, but also just, keep in mind, take it one day at a time. That's all we can really do in life. We can't really prepare for what's going to happen tomorrow. But I'd love to hear your stories, especially if you had some kind of event that changed life completely for you. I've heard people starting over at 50, whether it's switching into a new career, something that they loved. Maybe they got divorced and they're starting over in life. I've also had friends who've jumped and moved to different countries, leaving almost everything behind and starting from scratch. So definitely some interesting stories out there that I would love to hear. And whatever the case, I would just love to know, because, I would like to know what you did to overcome that hurdle or what you're currently doing to get over that hurdle. That's going to do it for today. So stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.